everybody, welcome to Just Us Up North. We're canning again today. We're going to work on doing some salsa and kind of excited about that. We're out. We enjoy canning around here, you know that, and we appreciate you stopping by, hanging out with us, so let's get at it.
Alright, so our first step is to blanch our tomatoes in some boiling water just long enough to loosen the skin. Doesn't take long. Once you see that skin start to wrinkle, they're ready to come out. We have one here that looks ready. It's been in there a while. So I'm going to put that in the cooling water. We cool it so we can handle it. Alright, now that tomato is cool and able to be handled, so she's cutting any bad spots out, taking the core out and peeling it.
They're peeling pretty easy. Smells good. Smells like summertime. And then I'm going to cut it up, get it into the roaster to cook down a little bit to be blended.
Alright, that's the first of many for that part of the project. We'll stop back as we're a little further into it. Probably one of the most time-consuming parts of the process. Alright, the last tomato is being peeled and cored, and this is what a full bushel of tomatoes looks like in the roaster. And we are just going to cover that and let those cook down and get soft for a little while as we get into the other parts of the process, and we will show you what we do with these tomatoes in a little while. And that's the peels and cores there, so that's not going to be wasted either. That is going right up in the compost pit.
Okay, so now comes the prep work. We need to get all of the inner ingredients for our salsa ready. We've got onions and peppers and garlic and lime and cilantro, some salt, some sugar, some jalapeno. I do use the same recipe every year that was given to me years and years ago. It is the best salsa. So let's get the onions going. Okay, 2 large candy onions. Now onto the peppers. Nice small dice on this green pepper. Okay, this is the last green pepper. We'll put this in, give it a stir. And I'm happy with the ratio of onion and pepper there. Now we'll move on to the garlic.
For the garlic, I have a whole cluster of garlic peeled and ready to go. There's probably 15 cloves, but we're going to put it all in here and run it through our garlic press. like lots of flavor.
You think there is such a thing as too much garlic?
I don't think so. Not in that. All right, let's get that garlic all nice and stirred in, and now I think it's time to put some jalapenos in here.
Okay, now we're going to add some jalapenos. These are some home canned jalapenos, and we canned these a couple of years ago, and it was a dry year, and when you have a dry year you get some pretty strong jalapenos, so I won't add too many because these literally will melt your face off, burn your ear canal, and make you grow hair. They're pretty hot, so I think that's more than enough. And we'll mince these up. Get it mixed in as best you can with all your ingredients. You want to try and get as good a mix as possible, a little bit of everything in every jar. And in she goes.
Good stir.
Alright, and now I'm going to add some salt, probably not quite a quarter cup, maybe a half of a quarter, an eighth, to season this up. Because this is your seasoning for the whole batch, the tomatoes and everything. And then to balance it out, I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. About the same amount. Okay, and a quarter cup of vinegar. Now for the limes. I'm just going to add 2 limes, just the juice of 2 limes. Okay, last ingredient, about a half a cup of cilantro, maybe a little less than half. Let's stir it up and see what we think. Then I'm going to mix this with a little bit of tomato in a bowl and give it a taste test. Yeah, I think that's probably enough. Okay, I got about a quarter cup of tomato juice here. I'm going to put a little bit of our ingredients in there. Mix it up. And give it a taste test. Oh, very good. Woo! Spicy.
We are gonna put our chopped ingredients into the jars. I'm aiming for about 1 inch of room at the top to make room for our tomatoes. That one was, I think that'll be okay. That's pretty close. It's once it packs down. After a little bit of deliberation, we decided to leave a little bit more headspace because we have a lot of tomatoes to put in these jars and we want to have the proportion right. Okay, now that our tomatoes have cooked a little bit and got soft, we're using the immersion blender to grind out all the chunks so we have a nice smooth tomato sauce to add to our other ingredients. Alright, now we are topping off the jars with our tomato sauce. Looks like the right mixture. So now I'm going to stir this in with a skinny handled spoon just to make sure the air bubbles are all gone, and we may have to top these off a little bit because when we start processing we want a 1/2 inch of head space. As you can see, once I stir it in, it does kind of settle. That's what it looks like before we put it into the canner. It looks like we have got the right proportion of everything.
Wiping all those runs so we get a good seal.
It's time to get them into the canner. We are just bath canning these. There's plenty of acid in there from the tomatoes and the lime and the vinegar. And once they're in there, when that comes up to a rolling boil, we are going to let these go 20 minutes.
First batch is going. We got 9 pints out of the first batch of onion pepper seasoning mix. Now we're starting on our second batch to get another 9 jars.
All right, now that is a rolling boil. That is definitely the rate of boil that you want to have before you start timing your process. So we are going to go 20 minutes at that boil. All right, I have turned the heat off because it's been 20 minutes, and we are going to let those cool down for, well, we're going to have a little lunch break, and when we're done with that, then we will pull the jars out of the water. All right, our water bath is cooled down, and now we're going to take the jars out and let them cool.
And we canned 19 pints of salsa. We got 2 canners going there. And with the leftover tomatoes, we'll either can just tomatoes or spaghetti sauce.
All right, so that's how we make our salsa. Sometimes our recipe might vary depending on what type of peppers are available, what we have on hand, but that's basically how we make it. It's a very versatile thing. We use it more as an ingredient in our cooking than as like a chip dip like a lot of people do. But anyhow, that's how we make salsa. I hope you enjoyed our coming along with us, and we've got a lot of more work to do today in our canning. So until next time, be blessed.